from Australia. Fat Susan and Te Tokakia are all on the Q dock and on the K dock. Actually, there was Amici. I didn't look at who else was on the K dock. And I see another boat has left Fiji in Varun. Left on Monday, actually, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they are currently at 1945 and 176 with 19 knots of easterly. So getting along, just taking their time though, 4.2 knots in the southwest, I guess wanting to pace themselves, and a good idea to pace it at that end rather than the other end. You never know what you might get at the other end. Pura Vida still can't copy us, but anyway, they're doing pretty well, eating their way through all the supplies on board. 2336 and 17721. Actually, I must just go to them to let you know, because this is an interesting. They had a little spiel on some of the meals that they're having, and they had a bit of non-success at catching fish, but then they caught a skipjack. And they commented, as we do, that don't want that because it's darker meat and it doesn't oily, says Dave. It doesn't have a very good reputation. But since beggars can't be choosers, they decided to have they decided to see what they could do with it. And so the three of them, they did it 3 different ways to decide what way would be edible. And so Willie made poisson cru, which would have been all right, choosing the best of the meat, I presume. Skewers marinated in ponzu. I had to look up what ponzu is. I mean, this is a boat that is really a gourmet food boat. And ponzu sauce is just like a glorified soy sauce, really, but it's got citrus juice and rice vinegar and mirin and stuff like that. So basically another sort of poisson cru, except with a bit more hoi polloi in it. And then who else? And then Devon did a honey soy marinade. So they cooked the last 2 actually on the barbecue. They wouldn't have had to do it for very long after it had been marinating. They had to show you how the winds were rather pleasant, and evidently all were delicious. So they've decided they won't throw back them again, the skipjack, unless of course they've got a freezer full of yellowfin. So they're doing pretty well. Perigee we might be able to hear later. We don't have much success. But anyway, Perigee is at 2.6 and about 177 east. Seems to be going pretty well there. And we'll be keeping track of them. They'll probably be messing about a bit too to make sure they do their 12 days. Well, what is the news from, I'm just checking actually whilst I'm multitasking here. Yep, 26 and 177. Okay, I got that right. The news today, well, we've had a pretty bad weekend COVID-wise here in New Zealand. 91 yesterday and 60 today. But the schools go back, the senior schools go back to school on Tuesday. So it's sort of getting very confusing. I mean, here's the rest of us can't even go out and buy anything, but the senior schools are back. So it's sort of getting a little bit, well, I won't say. Anyway, if you don't want to go to school, you could win lotto tonight because Powerball is 42 million. 42 million. Imagine what you could do with that. Talking about places opening up, Australia has opened up, and in fact, our quarantine travel from the South Island is a go, provided you have a negative PCR test within 72 hours. So you don't have to quarantine when you get there, but you do have to declare that you've not been in the North Island for the last 14 days or more. So it makes us sort of feel as if we've got the plague up here, really. But I wouldn't want people going to Australia, not that they're exactly in a good state themselves, but they have passed the 70% double dose mark, which is rather good. So in Australia, the total average of people who are double vaccinated is 70%. The UK is going really, really poorly. Their average daily COVID positive is over 44,000, and that has been for the past week. 44,000 a day, every day for a week. And they are actually getting calls to reimpose social restrictions. They're thinking that immunity is waning because they started having shots, COVID vaccine shots, in December 2020. In fact, 80% of people in the UK have had 2 doses. So it's starting clearly to wane, which is poor news for everybody in the world, really, because it's not really lasting all that long to give you protection. Okay, yesterday, no it wasn't, it was Monday, I asked you to keep aware those boats coming into coastal New Zealand for a boat Heritage that left Fiji and lost steering. Well, he got an emergency tiller organised and has done a bit of sailing, but a tow boat has been organised for him, so that's all under control. He's a very big, heavy boat. It's a Spray, Roberts Spray, 42 foot. Okay, so that's about it. Can't see anybody else in the space between Australia. Oh, actually, there is a boat. Oh, it's a boat that I would like. US Gabiata. I don't know what's behind that name, but it is a boat that I would really like if they gave it to me. It's a twin keel power boat, and it is just punching into 20 knots of easterly above northwest of the North Cape, and just obviously just probably all having a gourmet meal down below. It's quite a wide boat, wouldn't fit in our berth unfortunately, so if we did win Lotto tonight, I guess we'd have to look at something else.
By the Marine.
By the Marine, says David. Okay, everybody, enough of the dreaming, and here is David with your weather.
Yeah, good afternoon from the weather desk. That would be nice. Would you say 44
42,
million?
yep.
42 million. That's actually too much money.
No, it's not.
No? Anyway. Well, taking a look at the Synoptic Charts, the main player from really 30 south to the islands is an anticyclone. The center of it actually is further to the south than 30 south, but central pressure 1032 millibar, and that's pushing a very nice ridge toward Fiji and Tonga, and those boats that are enjoying that easterly wind that thanks to that anticyclone. To the west, a trough runs from the Solomons to just to the west of Vanuatu, skirts Vanuatu in other words, and goes on to New Caledonia and the Loyalties, kind of splits the difference between those two. Then on to Norfolk Island it goes, and it links up with a low that's near 33 and 162 east. Now there's another trough that's evident from northern Vanuatu to Rotuma with fairly stiff winds between Fiji and Rotuma. If you were up there, expect north-northeast 25 to 30 knots. So that's blowing pretty good. Winds in Tonga are up to 20 knots plus out of the east. So over to Fiji now, and again, thanks to that strong anticyclone to the south, Fiji Met has issued a strong wind warning for all Fiji waters. Strong wind warning for all Fiji waters. Right through 6 p.m. tomorrow, according to them, expect easterly winds 20 to 25 knots. Now, along with this, obviously, we're going to have some rough seas, and the further outlook continues to be easterlies 20 to 25 knots. And our yacht Patricia was talking about, Pura Vida, coming from Bora Bora, their route was sailing basically west, as we've told you before. Interesting route that they're taking. Quite a bit of homework was involved in that. As she said, they're about 23 and 177 west. But now they're altering course and heading toward New Zealand. They've got about 14 knots out of the east. And by Friday, as they keep going, winds still look to be from the east, and that'll be around 15 knots. And they should have actually very nice winds right through the weekend. And at 30 south, when they get down there, maybe Sunday or so, it looks like northeast, about 15 to 20. And to do that, of course, they're going to be on the west side of the high by then. You can see the curve in the isobars that will provide that sort of wind. Now, here's something else that I hope doesn't bore you, but some of you have had a fairly keen interest in the weather, based on some of the emails that we've gotten. So I thought I'd repeat some of the data on some lectures that we've given over the radio during the last 8 years of Gulf Harbor radio. To start, surface weather is very simply driven by upper levels, which is why in the past I've always given the 500 millibar analysis and the jet stream analysis. If you stay keen on this, there are papers on our website that go over all of this data. So if you've got nothing better to do, you can pull some of those down and read about it. But the most important analysis tools are the view of the jet streaks. Now these streaks either cause air to rise or descend. And the rising air occurs on the northwest entrance of the streak and on the southeast exit. So you take a look at your streaks, and these are the short areas of very, very high winds within the jet stream. Then we move over to the 500 millibar area. So with the 500 millibar trough, what we want to do there is to locate the axis, and rising air is going to occur on the east side of the upper trough axis. So on the surface, the rising air is going to create depressions, and the descending air anticyclones. So the analysis of these charts is going to help you to verify what the various models are saying, and helps you understand the why of the weather, and not only that, but to double check that the model has got it right. We've got one yacht, Perigee. It's got an ETA of, I think they said Tuesday the 26th. So let's just take a look at what is going on in the upper level, the progs at that point, see what they have got to say. The 250 millibar level is where the jet streak gets found. That has its exit just to the west of the North Island, while the important 500 millibar trough is very sharp with its axis in the Tasman, running northwest to southeast, which in combo with the streak, the jet streak, shows upflow in the mid-Tasman to New Zealand with a depression that is centered near 40 and 160 east. That's what we estimate, 40 and 160 east. And again, the date for that is Tuesday the 26th. And a cold front from that depression is going to be over the North Island at that point in time. And we'll have northerly quadrant winds about 20 knots, higher gusts and so forth in the frontal band. And that'll be near Cape Brett area leading into Opua. So this is a prognosis. It's 6 days or so out. So it, of course, is subject to change, as they all are. Remember, models are just an idea. So as we get closer to this ETA, it'll be interesting to see how the accuracy turned out, and what actually Perigee is going to wind up getting. So that's about it. I'll pass it over to the boss.
Well, we should do a score sheet for you to see if you're accurate on what you have predicted. And I see Macushla and Moondust are on their way with very good conditions, 19 knots of easterly, heading from the southern Lao back up to civilization. So they'll have a good passage. It's predicted to go ever so slightly back, but easterly or east-southeast, so lovely conditions. All right, this is Gulf Harbour Radio. Does anybody want to make contact? Please call now. Oh, I suppose that's Perigee, because I can barely copy you. I wonder if you've got your radio on high power, because it's very clear, but boy, it is hard to hear. I'm just, while I'm talking here, trying to get the gain up, and I'll get you to try again. Over.
No.
Well, when I turn things up, all I get is a lot more noise, unfortunately. But I do know you're there, and hopefully you have things turned off on the boat so that you could actually hear our transmission. But it looks like things are going well. Could you just give me a roger, roger, if all is well on board? Over. I've got that, thank you. Boy, it's frustrating, but yeah, I do know you've got a vertical antenna and they are just not good for punching out. But boy, I would have thought and I must ask you when you next make contact what sort of radio it is, but it just doesn't sound as if it's high power. And I'm assuming that we cannot hear Insatiable. Josh, if you're on frequency, please give a call. Who knows? You might be able to hear Perigee. Insatiable, Gulf Harbour Radio.
Very true.
Oh, I think I heard someone, but whether it's Perigee or not, I don't know because it is so light. I wonder if anybody is listening that can help with any relay. Could I have a relay, over? No, if that is insatiable, could I have a roger, roger, if all is well on board?
Roger.
Well, I got that one. Could you give me a position, please, but say everything twice. Say everything twice, over.
Position is 23 degrees, longitude 171.
Okay, you came up rather well. So I've got you at 23171. And how's the, course and speed, over?
Heading to the bearing of 128 at the moment.
Okay, I missed the speed. But you could come back on that. And wind, speed, and direction. Could you look at your map, please, love? Okay, you've got a northeasterly, and I'm just trying to position you. 23171. Hold everything here, folks. 23171. Oh, I see. Northeasterly, you've probably got about 16, maybe 16 to 18 knots of northeasterly. So, well, I'm really, really pleased we've got you, Josh. That's excellent news. And I've just got David looking to see what he might come up with, just to give you an outline of what is here in the future. It looks like you've got pretty good conditions.
This is west, isn't it?
No, east. This is the guy.
171
east. Yes, it's coming down from Vanuatu, Port Vila. Yep, just clarifying which boat you are, Josh. It looks like it's, from me anyway, on my just AIS, looks like it's going to stay in the easterly direction for a bit, so you'll be able to go quite well. But I'm going to pass the microphone. Stand by.
Yeah, from what I've got here, it looks like southerlies in store. There's actually a little bit of a polar dip in that line. That's just to your east from what I can see right now. And the winds on the west side of this polar dip are going to cause the isobars, obviously, to change direction. So it kind of looks like southerlies actually on Sunday, so I've gone too far. Let me look at Friday. No, by Friday, it looks like northeast winds. And actually, they're going to be picking up a bit, about 20 knots, maybe more than that. I don't, on the screen that I've got, I don't have exactly where I want to be, but it looks like about 20 knots in there. And by looking at, say, Sunday, as you continue, unfortunately, the winds are going to possibly change on the west side of this axis to be more or less in the southeast. If you were east of the axis, in other words, if you were at about 175 west, between there and the date line, the winds are going to be at the northeast. So it just depends on what your route is as you're heading down toward New Zealand. Over.
Okay.
Does he have email?
No. No. Do you have onboard email? I don't think you do, but any communication on board, over? No, I'm missing that. So anyway, sounds like, well, we'll catch up with you again on Friday. It is really good to have a position from you. Excellent news. So thanks for that, Josh, and we'll catch up with you on Friday. Okay, well, at least we got the position. So Josh is coming down from the Vanuatu area with sales that are not all that great, so it's good to keep track. He's in fairly strong conditions at the moment. Okay, clear with Insatiable. Is there anybody else? Did you want to make a door? No? Okay, we'll be back again on Friday, folks. There'll be quite a few changes of boats positions on Friday, but we'll still be able to hear Insatiable and probably Perigee, and maybe Pura Vida has stopped cooking up a storm and fixed their radio. And in Varun will be certainly in our signal area too. So have a good couple of days, everybody, and we shall be back again on Friday. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, and we are clear. The frequency is yours if you want it.